Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Appreciate you jumping on. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button because it certainly helps me grow the channel. We got some great stuff for you today, including digital asset investor, breaking down Ripple and XRP and what's looking like for 2025. We got some good stuff from Smoke Dog as always, and much more. Stick around for some terrific news. We'll look at some pricing first, however. Bitcoin taking a dive. Hate to see it, but it's diving. It's down at 91,980. The good news is we've seen this in the past, and Bitcoin has risen from the ashes to pump 130%. So some people out there still think it can go to 200,000. Ethereum sitting at the number 2 spot, also down 8% over the last 24 hours, sitting at $3,027. XRP still at the number 2 spot, down, but not nearly as much, only 2.93%, sitting at $2.46. Tether at the number 4 spot, $137 billion market cap. And Solana sitting at the number 6 spot, down 6.76%, over the last 24 hours at $177.46. Let's dive into some news. First, coming from Digital Asset Investor. He's retweeting Anders here. Digital Asset Investor says Ripple is not an ordinary company. XRP is not an ordinary digital asset. Ripple and XRP is clearly being positioned to enter the US market by force and likely being used by some serious institutions. You have to be blind not to see it, but it's easier to vision it when listing all current events and orders. And this is what Anders does here. He lists some events for us in order. Let's take a look at them. 1. XRP declared a non-security by Judge Torres in July 2023. Ripple joins the International Swaps and Derivatives Association, the ISDA, in August of 2023, alongside a plethora of large institutions. Next, Ripple becomes a platinum member of the American Bankers Association, ABA, in June of 2024. Next up, in July of 2024, Chicago Mercantile Exchange added a reference rate and real-time index for XRP. It's important for institutions to have accurate and reliant benchmark for XRP price. On an unrelated note, ETH was added as the secondary cryptocurrency after Bitcoin shortly before Hinman held his infamous ETH speech, where he declared ETH a non-security. It took 4 years until another crypto were added. Interesting, isn't it? He goes on to say Ripple case is over in August 2024 with the Torres final ruling where Ripple was ordered to pay a fine of $125 million. The ruling is seen as a big victory for Ripple. SEC files for an appeal. Next, in October of 24, the first XRP ETF is filed in the United States. Several others shortly filed as an XRP ETF as well. This will provide institutions as well as sophisticated investors a simple, safe, and reliant way to invest in XRP. In November of 2024, Trump wins the U.S. presidential election as the first pro-crypto president and promises a pro-crypto SEC. In December of 2024, RLUSD launches Ripple's USD stablecoin. This makes total sense in a Trump administration. Ripple will be able to offer both a product that's expanding US dollar usage by institutions around the world, as well as a crypto company with headquarters in the US. Trump wished to favor US crypto companies and US-made cryptocurrencies. Note that Bitcoin and ETH can't fit this criteria, so it will be interesting to watch coming events. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. No other cryptos have this much going on. So if you're gonna believe in one, I mean, do your research on the other ones. There's plenty of other good ones, but not with this many connections. He goes on to say in January 2024, Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Alderati in a meeting with Donald Trump in private. We've all seen the picture, which he has here. And it says, what is likely to happen soon? SEC versus Ripple case settled or dropped by the new pro-crypto administration. It's pretty clear how bullish this is for Ripple and for XRP. They're truly in a golden position. And Trump has said This is going to be a golden era for the economy and for the US. So a lot of great points there by Anders. And again, I ask you, who else has these connections? What other cryptocurrencies have these connections? He put some of the things here, some of the articles, platinum member in his photos here, but you guys have seen and just heard all this, so I'm not going to repeat it. Here's the picture with Trump, Stuart Alderati, who is head legal counsel for Ripple, and the president, CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse. So, I mean, wow, a lot of connections there. Smoke Dog coming in here and says direct confirmation from Swift that it is a misconception to believe that ISO 20022 is just messaging. If you want to learn how, watch the video below. Some people prefer the truth. Some prefer the lies. The choice is always yours. Listen to this woman as she breaks down really what this ISO 20022 is all about. And it's not just, not just messaging. Take a listen.
ISO 20022 is called and recognized as the standard of the future. And I'm going to briefly touch this topic at Hong Kong Blockchain. Can you please talk more about how this standard is applied?
Sure. So ISO 20022 is a standard that's been in development for more than 10 years. And it's not just a messaging standard. That's kind of a misinterpretation of what it is. And it's very basic.
And I apologize. The video is sped up, so I cannot slow it down. So pay close attention if you're listening to this.
It's actually business flows. So for example, when you're doing a payment, what does that look like? Who are the parties involved? What information do they send to each other, et cetera, et cetera. When you break that down to its components, you end up actually with a very rich kind of data dictionary, which allows you to reuse these components in different ways, like a recipe book. So ISO 20022 absolutely is pervasive in our industry. It's used across payments, securities, transactions. And the reason that it's done so well as a standard is really because of its flexibility and also the fact that it's an open source standard. So anybody can go to ISO20022.org and get the information on the standard out of that. But why it's important from, maybe I'll talk first from a payments perspective and then from a securities perspective, but why it's important from a payments perspective is it allows innovation to grow. So it provides a base about how people interact, so a language, and then on top of it, it allows innovation to grow from there. So I'll give you an example of that. For example, in Australia, there's a real-time payment platform called NPP. That Australian platform actually does person-to-person payment transactions within, let's say, less than 10 seconds. It does this transaction. And that's all based on ISO 20022. The idea is to then, on top of that, build a layer that allows fintech companies to plug into that fast payment utility. And that will allow those fintech companies to be able to offer services to the market. For example, let's say you want to get a mortgage and you have to do all the document checks, you have to do et cetera, and then that results at the end of the day into a payment of your deposit. That could be a fintech company sitting on top of that does document checking and eventually helps to initiate the payment. And what that allows you to do is, because we've agreed on the business standards and how you, for example, initiate payment, it's then more interesting and easy for fintech companies to be able to grow on top of that, because they no longer need to worry about how do they communicate with that real-time payments platform, how do they communicate with the banks. That basis is set and it allows innovation to grow. Another example of that is we do a lot of work with the World Wide Web Consortium around payments and how payments go from a web browser. So we worked very closely with this group over the years, which includes the like of Google, Apple, et cetera, who are all looking at a common standard on how to do payments.
So there you go. A lot there. You can read it on the screen too. If you need to go back and take another look at it, please do. The words are on the screen there, but it's not just a messaging standard. It's a lot more, and you can build on top of it. But those that connected to that are going to have definitely a leg up. And XRP and XLM are two of those. Coming in from Uphold here, they posted a strong start to 2025. Here's your XRP report for the week. Ripple leadership meets with President-elect Trump. We just saw that. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and Chief Legal Officer Stuart Alderati, kicked off 2025 with the high-profile dinner alongside President-elect Trump. Let's take a look at what else they got here.
ISO 20022 is called and recognized as the standard of the future.
Let me pause that. I apologize. Next up, this meeting underscores at Ripple's commitment to fostering relationships at the intersection of politics and technology. Next up, DZ Bank and Ripple unveiled digital asset custody platform. Germany's largest depository bank, DZ Bank, has launched an institutional digital asset custody platform in collaboration with Ripple. Key features: tailored for institutional clients, focused on settlement and custody of digital assets under German securities law. Quote here, we are very proud that we were one of the first banks in Germany which really built and made their digital custody platform going live. We can serve our clients dealing with settlement and custody of digital assets, focusing on crypto securities, according to the German securities law, said a DZ Bank representative. Ripple's strong start to the year appears to highlight its ongoing and growing influence in the financial and digital asset space. What's your take on Ripple's partnership and 2025 strategy? Share your thoughts. Do me a favor, share your thoughts in my comments on what you think Ripple's partnerships and 2025 strategy is. It's looking pretty good to me. Remember, they were mostly out of the U.S. prior to Trump being elected, and now they see the light at the end of the tunnel in the U.S. and they're starting to hire in the U.S. So good stuff there from Uphold. Here from Riz, it says liquidity incoming. He reposted here a video from Tony Edwards in the Thinking Crypto podcast. So take a listen to this, as this is a former Ripple employee talking about RLUSD and a couple other things with Tony Edwards. Take a listen.
Ask you about Ripple's stablecoin RLUSD and the growing stablecoin market. Stablecoins are one of the killer use cases or apps of blockchain. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, bullish. I actually let me see if she emailed me back yet, but I don't know if many people, I don't know how public Monica is these days, but Monica is the president of Ripple, and I used to work with her. When I emailed her today, like, hey, let's cook on RLUSD. Let's see if we can expand that throughout the rest of the on-chain economy. But yeah, I mean, to me, this is an example of kind of what I was talking about with Ripple's ties to existing like fintechs, banks, institutions out there. Yeah, I'm really excited for them. They just have the relationships there. Like, they have been building this company. Like, I think a lot of people don't know, it's been around since like 2013. Like, it's been around like longer than Ethereum. You know, it's been a super long time that they've been pushing on this, and they have like offices throughout the world and stuff. And they're like pretty deeply in bed with the existing financial system. So RLUSD as like a technology, I'm super excited to see them have this like asset that they can drive adoption of. For a long time, even when I worked back at Ripple, I was like, this makes sense to have a stable coin. Like, honestly, I think we should launch a stable coin on top of this. And seeing now that they're at a point where it's like, cool, this thing is going to happen. I think there's a ton of synergies with their existing like partnerships and product adoption. But on top of that, and you know, this is more my Omni brain thinking, but like there's stuff like Omni that can be used to expand RLUSD throughout the rest of the on-chain economy. So yeah, this is something I'm watching like pretty closely, and I'm like chatting with Ripple people about.
So good stuff there from Riz, and a lot of people are excited about this RLUSD stablecoin from Ripple, and they're going to start using it with the institutions they interact with here. They said early in 2025. We don't think that has happened yet, and they have already minted a bunch of tokens. So bullish on RLUSD for sure. Smoke Dog coming in here says, why was it never Bitcoin? Remember, Bitcoin often falls outside of the system, while Ripple and XRP fall within the system. Yes, this is documented. He has a document here. If I can pull it up here, that says Bank of International Settlements, payment system, broader concepts, and more than just currency, includes rules, participants, crypto assets to form payments, but these are alternative payment systems. And he says Ripple and XRP often fall within the system. Bitcoin and Ether fall outside of the system. So it's interesting to see there. Not that Bitcoin can't be successful. I'm not saying that, because I own Bitcoin just like I own XRP and ETH, for example. But I do believe XRP has a much longer runway in working with these banks, and has a lot more upside than Bitcoin at this moment. Than XRP. XRP over Bitcoin in the long run. But Bitcoin is going to be extremely successful as well. So I don't think you can lose either way. I just wonder who's in control of Bitcoin at the end of the day. And that, scares me a little bit. But not financial advice. Do your own research. Appreciate you jumping on. Do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. Follow me on X @OrlandoMott, and we will see you on the flip side.